Howdy folks, welcome back to RUSE. I'm Legendary and we're going to play some RUSE today. It's a RTS released in 2010. I did my homework this time. So going to play on the edge, 3 teams. There we go. Let's see. Oh, for once we're playing the German Soul Boy. I remember the first time I played on stream. It was this week already. And ooh, that was a misclick. Um, and I played the Italians since I'm using the randomizer. I'm using a random faction, so I never know what I'm going to play in advance, nor my enemies, nor my allies. And I played the Italian the first time, which are very weak nation and just relies on spamming troops more and more. So it's basically quantity is more important than quality, to put it in a nutshell. Total, okay, no Air Force. Oh, I like the fact that my friend is a ship. Anyway, and then on the second game, I played it was the United Kingdoms, and it was fairly hard because the United Kingdoms are really air focused, and the fact about the AI is that they adapt to your troops. So what they did when they start seeing my planes in the air, they decided, well, he's using planes, so we're going to build anti-air troops, anti-air forces, a lot of anti-air forces. So they basically flooded the map with anti-air armored vehicles, and yeah, my life was a nightmare after that. So I'm really, really, really happy to be playing a normal nation. So as you can see, I managed to secure 2 supply depots. My ally unfortunately secured the third one. He's very greedy, isn't he? So instead I built an administrative building, and as the first building I decided to build an artillery and entire base. Why? Because I can produce the mighty 88 millimeter gun. So this gun is really good for 2 reasons. First, the range, 600 meters. The tanks can only go up to 500, so you are always going to have the advantage. Secondly, it's very potent. You can use it as an anti-tank or as an anti-aircraft gun. It can do both, so it's very good, and it has a pretty good value for money. It can one-shot the early tanks, and it can not really one-shot, but route any incoming plane in one shot. So when you get so if there is a single plane attacking your my flag 88, the plane is going to get in route mode in no time. And if I place 288, they're going to one shot the plane, or two shot in that case. So yeah, that's really something that I like. So what's my ally doing? Sorry, it's always interesting to see what the allies, the AIs are doing, because they do have a bonus, a resource bonus at the start of each game. So you can see how they decide to develop and what's the strategy. You can definitely see. I built 2 units, a few buildings, and look at what my ally managed to build. An airfield, base, yeah, 5 bases, three depots, a whole bunch of units, and I definitely cannot do the same. I don't have the money to do so. So this game is a 2 versus 2 versus 2. So these two are going to fight themselves, which will make our life easier. And we are going to try to focus them. So I propose that I focus on the one on the left, We see what our ally is going to do. Not, I think not a lot, because these tanks are not very good. So we are playing the Germans. So what's the strength of that nation? Strong tanks, very, albeit very expensive, but very strong. The research are very very quick compared to what you had under with the Italians. On the Italians, with the Italian faction, it is very their research are very very slow. With the Germans, you don't have that issue anymore. But the units are very very expensive. Look at that. Tiger, 50 to research, 40 to build. King Tiger, 50 to research, 50 to build. For each unit, it's going to be very very hard to get any of these on the battlefield. So that's why I'm going to build a second an administrative building as well, a second one. One of the things that can be noted about the Tiger is the fact that it can one-shot all the tanks that have only one armor. You can see the armor by selecting by clicking on the unit. Not really clicking, just hovering it with the mouse. Hovering the unit, yeah. And then you can see the armor right here. You can see how the damage works in the game. Well, basically, you have several types of guns. So when it is fighting against infantry, it's going to use the high explosive. So the armor values are not relevant here. It's going to use the armored piercing against everything that has armor, hence the name. And when you attack something with, let's say, an armor 4, like our Tiger, it's going to do 20 damage. So that's how you see the strength of your guns. If you want to compare it for let's say the P26 that I had when I played the Italians, the P26 had only 50, so half of all the values for the Tiger. The Tiger being the first heavy tank that Germany can produce. Afterwards you have the King Tiger with an even better gun, and then the Mouse with and that's the most impressive thing. The Mouse got 2 guns actually. So you have one principal 128mm and you have a secondary 75mm gun. And you can see, yeah, it's an AI prototype, so of course it's going to deploy mouse. You can see the values here. 217 compared to the 50 of the of the P26. And even the secondary secondary gun already got 56. So I think it's more powerful with its secondary gun than the P26. That's crazy. That's an absolute... uh, I'm lost for words. Anyway, I really need to start building units instead of talking, because... Yeah, it's... Yeah. I'm not... I'm not going to survive if they start to rush me with all these mouses. Oh, definitely not. So let's see what our ally is going to do. Maybe the other enemy is going to temper, because otherwise we're proper fucked. That's going to be the that's going to be the fastest game I ever showcase into this channel. So as this video will get released on Saturday, that would be the second RUSE video that I commented RUSE video that I released on this channel. So I really hope you like my content. If you do, well, press that goddamn subscribe button. I really need it. I'm not earning any money, but I would like to grow this channel. I would really like to. I understand that I'm not going to earn any money for, well, a few months at least. And if I want to be more realistic, probably 1 year or so. But we'll see. We'll see. So, I'm not doing the research yet for the King Tiger for one simple reason. The King Tiger is slower to produce than the Tiger, which means that you really need the 50 to do the investment on the King Tiger, and then 30 to build another armor base to speed up the construction. And yeah, it's getting quite expensive. So it's just 80 just to produce the tank, and then it's 50 per piece. So I'm going to spend 130 to have my first King Tiger. So yeah, it's going to be very expensive, and I don't have that money yet. Um, let's help our friends, shall we? We've got enough tigers to get rid of these mouses with air support. I will gladly help. So what can we do against that mouse? Uh, okay. Hello, it's me. Yeah, I'm going to build another administrative building because we're really going to need all the money we can get. Yeah, so that's the first mouse, that, and the second one is right here. By the way, one important thing to note, which may sound as a detail if you don't really play the game, but which is very important for the people that actually do play it. There is some sort of bug into this game. If you play a battle against the AI normally, the AI is not going to use the ruses. It's not going to be very intelligent. By not being intelligent, I mean that it's not going to, let's say, really adapt to what you are doing. They're going to adapt it on a slight manner. If you start building planes, of course, they are going to build A planes, etc. Okay, I get it. But um, they're not going to really exploit the weaknesses in your defense scheme. While I'm using... Well, I did some modifications to the game in order to allow the AI to use its full potential, as it was planned by the developers at first. So it's not really a modification of the game, it's just some bug fixing, let's call it that way. So let's fix the bugs. Yeah, and I think that's going to be a great title for this video, isn't it? Let's fix the bugs. Yeah, I can see that as a title. I like it. So, um, so the AI, when it's well fixed in a way, is going to use the ruses. So it's going to well, let's say they don't have any recon right here, and they want to attack with the planes. They're going to use one ruse that is called spy that reveal any unidentified unit in the sector. So they're going to use the spy ruse. They're going to hammer my tanks. As before, they wouldn't use the ruse. So if they didn't had any direct reconnaissance, they would not attack, or they would just send the planes, and the planes wouldn't have any recon, so they wouldn't do anything, and they would get shut down. The AI is also looking at your defenses and attacking by surprise. They're they are really abusing of the radio silence thingies to in order to get undetected. And then you think, yeah, everything's quiet. Everything's quiet, yeah. That side of the map is not very crowded, and then you see an entire army of IS-3s. You're not going to like it, are you? Oh, that can really be frustrating at times, but well, it's part of the game. That's a challenge. That's some challenge. You don't play a game to get a challenge, right? So I remember I like to play with a friend. Maybe one day we're going to do a video together, but not yet. Um, so we like to play together, and we used to play the AI, the bugged AI, let's say. And then I proposed him to install. I proposed to just fix the bugs. And then we tried, and I told him, yeah, I just warn you, the AI is going to be a bit more difficult. He told me, yeah, I did some tests, and I don't find it to be very much more difficult. I said, oh, are you sure? He said, yeah. So we decided to launch a game together against the AI. And we got our asses kicked in a way you couldn't even believe it arrived. Really. And he was like, yeah, it's definitely more difficult. It definitely is. So I really convinced my friend like that. And that was really really funny to see because he really got armored as I was, and and then he realized his mistake. And so you need to really readjust the way you are playing the game. Um, Can't just play as you were playing originally, since it's much more difficult. So you really have to be careful, because the AI can really counter your offensives, and sometimes they are really going to use something that they didn't really did before. They're using the most cost-effective units. By that I mean, if you play German, as I am, the most cost-effective units if you are playing against tanks, well, the most cost-effective way to have a powerful army is to use an anti-tank base and to build some Yak Panthers. The Yak Panthers are very, very cheap to produce. It's only 30 per unit, and they have the same gun as the King Tiger. The King Tiger costs 50. The Yak Panther do have one less armor, doesn't have a machine gun, and it doesn't attack the infantry, so you really need to have something to have the Yak Panther against the infantry. But for all intents and purposes, yeah, I'm going to say it, it's really, really cost efficient. By the way, it's so cost efficient, I'm going to do it. I will demonstrate that. But in the meantime, I'm faced with some sort of challenge. I really need some anti-aircraft defense, but it's going to be very, very expensive. Because I would like to launch an assault here. But the problem being that I don't have any AI, any anti-aircraft coverage. Oh wait, this looks very empty. Yeah, they didn't do that much building. Yeah, one of the shortcomings of the AI of this game is that as a player, you know that to build a tank faster, you need 2 armor bases. The more armor bases you are going to build, the faster you research at first and then build the units. The AI doesn't understand that. So they are going to have the resources to build a lot of units, but they are going to build them one by one by one, with only one base. So that's really one of the shortcomings. One of the things that, unfortunately, never got fixed. Uh, they stopped the development of the game altogether. Of course, it's more than 10 years old, and they even stopped selling the game, which is another thing. So I'm featuring the game on this channel because I bought it a few years ago. If I remember correctly, I bought it in, was it 2015? Or 16, 17? Yeah, around that date. And it cost me €5 at this time. I just bought the CD key, I think a G2A or something like that. Now, if you want a game, you have to pay $50. So it's a times 10 price increase. That's something. And then you have to add the fact that I decided to purchase 2 DLCs. And the DLCs were at a higher price than the base game. I think when I wanted to get the Japanese, it cost me $20 or something like that. And there was another DLC that I don't remember the name, and it was a few bucks. I don't remember exactly, but it was 8 euros, 10 euros, something like that. But nowhere near the 50 bucks that that they claim today to just sell the game. So why is it that expensive? Well, it's very easy. When you and I discovered that when you make a World War II game featuring World War II vehicles, these vehicles were built by brands. Like, well, it's not here, but if you look at, well, it is here. This tank was built by Porsche. So I believe, well, it was clearly stated. So it's not I believe, it's a fact. It's a matter of fact. When you want to use this vehicle, you have to pay some sort of royalty. So they have um, to pay Porsche a royalty because their game are using Porsche vehicles, even if they are that old. You see. So when they sold the game, at first, of course, it was probably profitable. Well, I think it was. And then the sales started to collapse because the game was growing older, and of course the sales are not going to be the same all the time. That's clearly understandable, I think. And after a certain point, they decided that it was too expensive to keep the game running and to keep playing these royalties. So they decided to stop selling the game. So how did it translate into the price? Well, they basically stopped creating new city keys. Because when you want to sell a game nowadays, you don't have to do anything really complicated. You just have to sell a city key and Steam's doing the rest. That's it. But now, they are basically not even doing that. Which means that in return, well, the number of city keys available decreased and decreased and decreased. And you probably all live in a capitalist country, offer, well, demand, the price that you pay depends of the demand and offer rule. The more demand you have and the less offer, the higher the price. And that's what happened. The price of the game just basically skyrocketed, as I stated just before, and that's basically what's hampering the game. I really wanted to get new friends playing the game because I think it's great, but I just cannot convince them in their right mind to pay 50 bucks to have a game that is more than 10 years old and they objectively don't know if they're going to like it because they never played it. And yeah, just 50 bucks for a game that's 10 years old, I think, yeah, it's way too much. So yeah, I can definitely understand, but the situation is quite strange, and I never thought I would ever find myself playing a game that has seen his price skyrocketed that much. Because if I were intelligent, spoiler, I am probably not. I would have bought the game at 5 euros or whatever, and then sold it for 50. Imagine just a times 10 profit on a game. That's crazy. I would have earned 45 euros, so the equivalent of a few hours of work at minimal wage, or even at a good wage, in any European country, and I would probably not be rich today, but I would have a lot more money than I actually have. So you see, it's like for the Bitcoin thingy, you realize afterwards, yeah, I should really have invested in that. Oh boy, the Germans are counterattacking. Fall back, fall back. No, just destroy the base first. No, destroy the base first. I don't care which units die or not. Just destroy the base and then we are going to fall back. Okay, there we go. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. What? Only Veer province? Oh, okay, Veer province. Yeah, we can fight them. Go ahead, folks. And one or two mouses are not going to be that much of an issue. So I've bought several Yak Panthers, as you can see, 4 right here. And I've got some reinforcements in the form of Wirbelwinds. Wirbelwinds are very, very good. It's an anti-aircraft, armored anti-aircraft gun. That's the name. I think another name is ASP-AAG, which means self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. But I digress. Basically, these are just a master. These are masters of the sky. If you have the Germans, you can basically own the sky thanks to these. They're so powerful. It's beyond measure. They're really shredding the planes at such a rate. Okay, so my Yak Panthers are finally arriving, and I send 2 more King Tigers because my lines are starting to stretch a bit. So I'm going to we are going to push forward, and then we'll see. Because we're really going to need the most units. All the units to destroy the buildings, etc. Can we destroy the mouse first? I think they're using some sort of radio silence around here. You can see the turrets turning, and yeah, they're probably using radio silence because they're most of the units that got sent to us weren't spotted at all. Even not, I couldn't even see the cards. I'm going to build a secondary headquarters here, and I'm going to build that. And then we will start researching for the mouse. It's going to be my bread and butter. Can we destroy these? Yeah, we can. Good. And the Yak Panther is actually faster than the King Tiger. 2 kilometers per hour. By the way, in case you haven't realized, the speeds that are indicated on the game are not really relevant. The tanks are actually much faster. Look at that. Definitely not driving at 28 kilometers, is he? I would love that to be actually true. Imagine being in your car, driving at 28 kilometers per hour, and driving that quickly. Oh, the police would have so much work, and the speed limits would just be lower. So, let's build another administrative building, one building to govern them all, to rule them all. Yeah, that's the saying. So we managed to get rid of the German here, and we're going to push on the American. In the meantime, I'm going to deploy the buildings here, and we can start searching for the mouse. So the mouse is the most powerful, but also the slowest of all the super heavy tanks. So you really need to be careful if you want them at a short notice. You should really use the blitz, which improved the speed by, yeah, it's 50%. We're going to build the first mouse. It's the same as the King Tiger. If you want to start building your mouses, we need to build 2 prototype bases, otherwise it's going to be so long. Look, it's not really quick yet, but imagine half of that. Yeah, that would be very, very slow, right? You can see the February just shredding the planes. What can we do against Germans? Why there's such a German, so let's push them. That's the first mouse. On my first mouse, Germans Germans had mouses. So these are other Germans here and these are Japanese. Okay, fair enough. But my colleague is just defending. So let's push. Let's push and keep pushing. You can see how slow they are. So fucking slow. So we are just raiding the Germans. The Germans, the Shermans. By the way, in Normandy, when the after the landing of the Allies, there was something. Um, the Allies were scared by the German Tigers. They didn't really know about the reliability of the thing or whatever. They were just regular soldier, you know, and they can be easy scared if something looks scary enough. And each time they made a German tank, may it be a Panzer 4, Panzer 3, or whatever it was, they thought it was a Tiger. So they basically started seeing tigers absolutely everywhere. And that show how scary that machine was. These are King Tigers, these are the improved version. These are the real tigers. By the way, one interesting thing about the tiger, um, I recently discovered that the it, if you look closely at the Panther, you notice that the armor of the Panther is sloped. So yeah, the armor of the Panther is 80 millimeters of sloped armor. The armor of the Tiger is 100 millimeter of horizontal or vertical armor, but no sloping. So one of the interesting things that really always blow my mind each time I really think of it, the Panther had more effective value. I think the effective value of the Panther was around 120 millimeters if you shoot at it straight, directly up front. So the medium tank was more armored than the heavy tank. That's really saying something about the Panther. I really think the Panther was a really good machine, even though it was really very unreliable, and there were a lot of shortcomings with regards to reliability, something that they never really fixed. People may believe that at the end of the war, so when we started reaching 1844, 1845, most of the problems of the Panther were actually fixed, and the Panther would be efficient, etc. But no. Oh boy, no. First of all, and it's one very important thingy, is that after the war, the French had basically no real tanks in their army except for the Germans and all the American landed things. But they wanted something a bit more powerful, so they decided to use the Panthers before they developed the Air Raid 44, but that's another story. That's a story for another day. When they started using the Panther, they needed to do a breakdown of what it was worth. So they did a very interesting report. I will probably send. Well, if I remember about it, I may put the link to bio, to the bio of the description of the video. You may like that. So, they made a very objective analysis of the Panther. And one of the things that they discovered was that in Normandy, each time most of the Panthers that broke down due to mechanical failure or whatever had an issue with their final drive. And on average, the final drive broke after 150 kilometers. So these tanks were basically brand new. Imagine having a car with only 130 kilometers and you are already starting to see issues. You're going to be very, very angry. Well, that was a tank, so obviously the tanks most of the time travel, I don't know, on trains or whatever. But 150 kilometers for a war machine, that's not a lot. Definitely not. So that was really one of the shortcomings of the Panther. One of the other things was that the Panther was able to turn on itself. Let me explain. A tank got two tracks, one on each side. So if you want to turn, let's say, left, you just order the track on the right to keep running, and you stop the track on the left. So it will make your tank run. But one of the issues with that system is that you always need to be advancing each time you turn. So to solve that issue, the Germans decided to create some sort of new system that allowed the tanks, the tracks of the tanks to turn one to be driven some sort of independently. So the track on the right will turn uh, to towards the front, and the track on the left will turn towards the rear. So which it would allow the tank to turn in without moving, without pushing forwards or whatever, by staying in the same position. That was a very interesting concept. That was really one of the things that I like about German tanks of that era. You know, it really has something to do with what people already thought still to this day about the German engineering and that kind of stuff. You know, so that system was not working. If they used it once, it could break the transmission of the tank, and basically some of the speeds used by the tanks will no longer work. So yeah, that was really a big deal, right? Oh boy, that's a lot of Stukas. Yeah, we're going to take some casualties here. I think I went into the chip side with the AA. Yeah, we lost a recon. That's too bad. And we lost Wirbelwind. Oh yeah, that's really, really bad. I'm going to send more Wirbelwinds. Okay, let's keep pushing forward. We got some tanks, so let's go ahead. The fact that the Yak Panthers cannot shoot while moving is really hammering us. But now that they are in place, they can really start dishing the shells around. So yeah, about the Panther. And they did quite a lot of things. They tested how the stabilization works, etc. Really a fair analysis of the tank to understand how well it performed. And that analysis, I'm going to send it to you guys. I'm going to put it on the beer. It's on the I think it was the World of Tanks forum. It was put there by one of the World Gaming associate or whatever you say that. And I really thought that it's really interesting, and they had a lot of other issues, which were about the fuel tanks of the tank. Yeah, the irony of the thing. Um, at first, they decided to call the tanks to fool the Germans, but now they are having tanks issues, so that's really ironic, right? So yeah, the fuel tanks had some issues with how is it called? They were leaking basically. There were fuel leaks, which would create some kind of issues. The tank could be set on fire because of that. So yeah, not really a reliable tank, is it? So what can we do against those? Yeah, let's just build an airfield and let's keep attacking. We are going to get some reinforcements. Oh yeah, I've ordered some mouses, so they're going to arrive next week. So let's push towards with what I do have. So yeah, about the Panther. I really like the look of the tank. I like the fact that it was somewhat a precursor of what you can, of what an main battle tank would be. Because if you look at the main battle tank that was designed right afterwards, the Leopard 1, and you put it side to side with a Panther, you really see the similarities. You really do. Um, and one of the things about the Panther, by the way, the gun that it was using, it sounds really well. It doesn't really sound powerful, is it? It's only a 75 mm gun, but oh boy, that gun was good. I mean, the Americans used a 75 mm gun on the Sherman, but it was a howitzer, so it was really good against the infantry. So it has a very low velocity. But the Panther, in the meantime, used a high velocity gun, and that one was really 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 good. It was a really awesome gun, and they used some sort of stabilization on the gun. I don't remember exactly which one. The tank in itself was fairly quick. Well, it's not quick by modern standards. I mean, you are not going to break a speed record in a if you are mounting a slope or whatever. But yeah, it was fairly quick for its size. I think it was quicker than the Sherman in some aspects. So yeah, really a very potent tank in its design, but hampered by all the issues, all the reliability and all that kind of issues that did not help making a great career. And that was really, and one of the other issues about the Panther was the first turret had such a shape that it was some sort of a shell trap. What's a shell trap? Well, if you hit the turret has a certain shape that will deflect the shells. The gun mantlet has a shape. It will deflect the shells, but it will deflect the shell directly on top of the hull of the tank, which means that a shell that has been, well, the armor of the mantlet of the turret worked because um, the shell bounced, but it bounced on the hull of the tank, and it penetrates the hull of the tank. So the roof of the hull, in a way. So the tank gets penetrated by a shell that should have, for all intents and purposes, not much losses, um, should have bounced, and it did damage, and it may have destroyed the tank. So that was really an issue. That was the same issue that they had. Well, if I remember correctly, it was the Tiger 2, the Koenigs Tiger, with the Porsche turret had the same issue. It had a share trap. So yeah, the Panther. I didn't build any. I didn't build any single Panther about that game, but I talk so much about it. I really like that tank. So in the meantime, really appreciate that you watched. If you came thus that far to the video, I suggest that you consider subscribing to the channel. You may see me on Twitch some of the days. I don't really know when. I haven't really make any calendar yet. So in the meantime, I wish you a very, very good day, folks. Take care. Bye bye.